Okay, so today I'm going to cover a session of application development and maintenance services. Let me introduce myself. I'm Rakesh Goel. I'm a senior director at Capgemini, and I work as a ADM expert in the company. I have an experience of around 25 years in the industry, where I have worked on various platforms in different roles in different countries. And primarily, I started my career as a software engineer, and then I worked on various platforms, as I said, and different industries. So I'm going to share my experience with you all, how exactly you can build a good career in application development and maintenance services. To set the expectations right, so in this particular session, I'm not going to cover how to develop a solution or how to develop a software using a tool. So I'm going to cover a bigger picture of of uh, of application development and maintenance services that any software industry, any company in the software industry, they provide services to the enterprises. So to start with, let me go to the presentation. Okay, so let me switch to the presentation. Give me a second. Okay. Um, okay, I'm facing a challenge. Let me open the PDF file. Here you go. All right. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. So, what I'm going to cover today is the application development and maintenance services. I will give an introduction, what application development is all about. And then I'm going to cover the different aspects of application development environment. What exactly the development is, what is the operations, and what is DevOps. Then I'm going to brief you on, okay. So then I'm going to brief you on the technology chaos. Usually, you must have seen different technologies that are available in the market, and people always see they are confused about where to start and how to start a career in application development. And I'm going to also look at different trends that keep coming in market from say technology standpoint in different say companies in different geographies. Then I'm also going to touch upon the next generation ADM services that as a company, where exactly a company focus and how exactly we identify the challenges in the market and then work upon solving those challenges with help of a right set of a solution that can make a application development environment very stable and very secure and cost effective for a customer. Okay, so what software application is all about. So that is one of the question that usually um, uh, comes to any person's mind who is at very say starting stage of their career. So application software or application software is not only just say front end that you see for any of the application that is running, but it is covering various aspects uh, of a company. So when an enterprise adopts an application, then it can be from a data warehouse perspective, HR management systems perspective, various industries like manufacturing, financial industry, retail industry. There are specific software, very specialized software applications that are available for those industries. CRM systems are available for various aspects of the enterprises they work upon. Then SCM systems and financial systems. So they are the key roles. They are the key pillars for any enterprise to work smoothly. Similarly, so these ERP systems, they are a specialized product created by various companies, and you must be aware of uh, software like SAP and CRM system from Salesforce. Similarly, there are custom applications or custom software applications that are developed specifically to achieve a business objective through a specialized software that is created only for accomplishing one purpose. For example, if it's a CRM system, a company do not find the features available in a product which is provided by specific companies like IBM product or a Microsoft product, then custom software is developed. Sometimes a product is taken and it is customized. So this is where the custom software application comes into picture, and this is where the application development plays a critical role. So CRM system databases also require some changes, customization. Similarly, mobile applications are developed specifically to connect with a backend systems with, say, for example, data warehouse systems or various financial systems to show you the analytics report on the mobile application. Similarly, BI applications are also developed in customized way. The software consultancy also touches upon the custom software application development, where the consultants look at the business challenges and then they uh, follow certain process to identify the right solution for a customer. The integration solution is nothing but providing a integration services for various systems to work together in collaboration and synchronization. So where does exactly the technology lives? The applications that we develop, where exactly it lives? So there are multiple pillars that you see here from left hand side: the traditional on-premise IT, the co-location, hosting, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. So many people, they are wondering what exactly they are. So a company can live on one of these pillars or maybe one or more of these pillars. So either they can deploy complete application in their own say environment, in their own premises, in their own office, on different servers. They create their own data center, networking, physical servers, virtualization, operating system, and then on top of all this, then comes the database application and the user data. So these are the three things that are connected with business, whereas it is all supported by the infrastructure. So below operating system is all called infrastructure. Similarly, when when an application is deployed on someone else's data center, then it is called co-located DC. If application is deployed on a hosting service like Rackspace, for example, Then it is called a bare metal data centers, and then on top of it, company is responsible for deploying the virtualization, operating system, databases, applications, or data. Then comes the cloud. IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS is nothing but a cloud service providers. So where most of the say infrastructure layer is owned by the cloud managers. So from an application development and maintenance point of view, it should be very clear to you that which environment that you are going to develop application for. This is very important, right? So if we look at, so traditional on-premises IT and co-location, they are all fixed location environment where you know where exactly your application is being deployed and who is supporting the operating system, virtualization, or other network and the servers. So if say as an application developer, you have to deploy your application, then you know whom to reach out and then deploy your application with help of those support teams. Whereas cloud hosted environment is where you access the servers remotely and deploy the applications, databases, or the user data that you load there. Fully managed is another cloud environment which is completely maintained, managed. Even applications are developed by the SaaS providers. So if I ask you one question, give me an example of a SaaS provider. So I can take an example like Salesforce is a SaaS provider. ServiceNow is also a SaaS provider. It provides a complete platform where organization they just create an instance and then they start utilize using it with the help of their own internal employees or with the help of their business users or customers. Another example is a Outlook or a Microsoft Office. It's a completely fully managed by Microsoft. So up to the application layer, it is all developed, maintained by the Microsoft company, whereas you load your data. So application development and maintenance usually lies up to the cloud hosted environment. If I relook at this particular scenario, so ADM team, ADM is application development and maintenance, as I said, they are responsible for the application and the data which is residing on it. So they design, they develop, they deploy, they test run the um, application on this particular layer. Below this layer, it is all infrastructure operations team. Sometimes ADM team also participate in the database management or optimization or fine tuning. But primarily the database is all set up in an enterprise by the infrastructure operations team, right? So ADM is comprising of developers, testers, QA testers, right? A QA lead, automation team. So they are all support in identifying the requirement from customer, analyzing it, then software architect they design the system and then they deploy. So they identify the requirement of the database, operating system, virtualization, and all, and then load the environment with help of the infrastructure ops team. So if we look at what is the difference between the cloud hosted environment and the co-located or on-prem data center environment. So the data center usually um, uh, requires when you have to do a lot of customization and you want full control of the environment while building the application and deploying the application. Sometimes it is required because of the compliances that are needed, the government compliances, because of the security reason or various other reasons. But where you want the application to be deployed with very low capital expenditure, that is called capex, then you tend to use the cloud environment. It all depends upon the business need, the criticality of the application, and the compliances that it fulfills. Okay. So if I look at in a typical organization, when a development team and of the operations team, the maintenance team, we call it, right? So because our focus today is only the application development and maintenance. So if we see if when an application is deployed in an environment, then then they have to go through a lot of do perform a lot of changes to the environment itself, and which creates significant amount of work for the operations team. So there is always a say confusion between the operations team and the development team, which they try to push the work to each other. So operations team usually their objective is to keep the environment very stable, whereas development team they always tend to identify new features, functionalities that can be deployed, and then they can keep the customer or the user happy, right? So to reduce that particular confusion, which is called a wall of confusion, there is a concept of DevOps. This is not a new concept, but you should be definitely aware of. So DevOps is a methodology. It is not a tool. It is not a programming language. It is a methodology under which development and operations team is a single team. So they share the load with each other. It's a multi-skilled team where one person can play a role of developer or a tester or even a maintenance software maintenance person. So in today's world, you cannot just learn one language or one technology and stick to it forever. So in today's world, the demand is that you have to be multi-skilled, right? So this is where the DevOps environment say provides a platform. Though there are some platforms which support the DevOps methodology, um, uh, continuous integration, continuous delivery as well, where the DevOps team can work using the agile methodology, which I'm going to talk about. So DevOps usually can be looked at from different perspectives. So ITIL is one of the standard for primarily used for the support or the operations team. It is also used for transition and various other aspects, but primarily for the operations. Agile, lean, theory of constraints, cloud, continuous delivery are the different aspects that DevOps need to look at when it is adopted by a organization. Okay, so when we talk about agile, so few of you must be knowing or you must have heard of this particular term. So agile is not a one specific say tool or one specific methodology that can be adopted directly. So it is having different flavors. So you should be aware of some of these flavors if you want to build a good career in application development and maintenance, right? So there are few flavors which are probably you can say outdated. For example, say extreme programming, and there are few flavors which are relevant, still relevant, like Kanban, and there are few say flavors of agile like Scrum, which is highly adopted by majority of the customers or the enterprises, right? So usually in most of the flavors, you tend to see a sprint based say execution methodology where the application development work is broken down in a small chunks, and each chunk is a complete application in its own. So instead of building a mammoth application, you just build a very small POC or a small application and make it working and make it useful to the user, and then keep doing some incremental changes to it by taking feedback from customer and trying to achieve the greater business objective. That is where the agile plays a very important role. And now when we are living in a world where lockdown is a norm, working from home is a norm, you will definitely see in coming months probably a new flavor within agile where a team distributed across different cities, different countries, probably speaking different languages, collaborating together, and then working on a application development and maintenance services, right? So what are the key drivers of say ADM in an enterprise? So application development and maintenance services is not only just writing the software by taking some business requirement, right? So enterprises nowadays are focusing on digital. You must have heard of, say, design for digital. So in this particular concept, you make the user as as the prime driver of your application strategy. So you don't have to drive the application development strategy based upon the technology. But here the user plays the most important role. The customer experience is the most important aspect in today's world. So you have to identify a feature first and then find the technology later. So don't try to impose the technology on the user, but let the user speak and try to achieve the feature they want with the help of the technology that can help in achieving that, right? So design for the digital is the prime thing that you may have to focus upon. Okay, so here comes the technology chaos. So I have seen few of the questions that you have already posted um, in this particular live stream, and I have seen some of you are asking which technology they have to start with. So in today's world, again, as I say, there are thousands and thousands of technologies available to achieve different perspective of applications. So definitely it is not something that you should ignore. You have to start somewhere. You have to learn one language. You have to learn one methodology. You have to learn some product. You may have to definitely know about certain environments like cloud, right? So to build a good career in ADM, right? So you need not to only focus on a specific technology, right? So every year you will see some changes into the top 10 technologies or the top 10 technologies which is paying the most, right? Having the giving the best salaries possible to the engineers. But as per my experience, it's a myth, right? So it is not just one technology that you should know, but you should also be aware about certain skills, about certain industry aspects. You have to pick up a specific industry or a domain like financial industry, retail industry, manufacturing. Go deep into it, right? And then use the technology to solve a business problem. So technology is just a facilitator. Technology is not a prime thing which should drive your career. But the skills that you develop, the deep knowledge that you develop, and it should be supported with the help of the methodologies, the certifications, the process awareness. Then it makes say probably good engineer of you, and then you get a good chances of getting picked up by the big companies, right? So I'm not saying that from the day one that you have to get there, but it's a process. It's a continuous improvement that you have to get into it. So I have listed down few of the say niche skills probably in today's world that are very relevant: the data science, the big data, cloud security, or probably the application security. And this is very uh, new concept of DevSecOps. DevSecOps is nothing but developing an application, keeping the security in mind at very start. So when you start developing an application, keep the security in mind about designing the authentication system, designing the integration system very well, so that it is secure at very starting stage itself, right? So application security is one of the niche skill area. Then audio video streaming, I just picked it up because of the maybe today's world, the work from home and learn from home has pushed this audio video streaming demand on sky high, right? So you need not to follow the technology trend. That is what I'm going to talk about in few minutes. Um, Again, um, when we are talking about say application, so application is uh, application in analytics. So application sometimes is depending upon the analytics, the databases, the infrastructure also. So you should be having some knowledge of those tools, technologies that you can integrate with the technology that you are picking up as your career. For example, if you are picking up say Python, within Python, what are the add-ons that are available for performing data analytics? How exactly it can be complemented with the help of certain additional tools and technologies, the APIs that are available from Google, from Microsoft, from Twitter, from various other things, right? So when you are picking up technology, always try to learn the boundary area technologies as well. So if you are picking up, say, database, then what are the boundaries of boundary technologies of databases? So how exactly databases are going to work on cloud, in containers, in virtualization? So you should have definitely knowledge of the boundary technologies of the core technologies where you are focusing upon, right? So that is my advice. Okay, moving on. So as I said, so time to time you will see various analyst groups, various experts. They keep publishing the top trends for a specific year or a specific probably duration, right? So I just picked up something which is in public domain from Gartner, the top 10 strategic technology trends of 2020. So yeah, this can be a good starting point again. So you have to start somewhere, right? So the people-centric technologies like hyper automation, multiple experience creation. Multiple experience creation is nothing but focusing on a technology which can provide a access channel to the to the mobile devices, to virtual to the VR devices, as well as to the smart speaker system like Alexa, like Google smart speaker, right? So, so these are the things that are catching up and where customer is spending a lot of money. So these technologies are developed and they are kind of become popular because of the customer demand. So customer drives the industry. Customer is the king, right? So they decide what they want, and then the technology people has to fulfill them. Similarly, the democratization is another concept which is picking up where technology has to be distributed in a way where people can provide the feedback, they can contribute into it. For example, democratization of the maps, right? Digital maps like Google Map, right? So where a contribution is coming in from all the direction. So human augmentation is another area where where you see the augmented device, where you see the smart spectacles. It shows the digital thing inside the spec itself. Or the smart cars is also having the human augmentation, where the smart cars can sense drivers' say emotions, and then it can take certain decisions. The transparency and traceability is another aspect which which is very important in today's world, where we don't know how the information is being stored, how the information is being accessed by the employees itself. Sometimes it can be abused. So a lot of regulations are there in place, like GDPR. You must have heard of GDPR regulation, which which provides a guideline to the technology companies as well as enterprises, how to manage and handle the personal data of an individual, right? This is where the transparency and traceability plays an important role. Then comes the smart spaces, where empowered edge devices are also playing a role. Edge devices is nothing but the IoT devices, right? IoT or the smart devices, wearable like smart watches that you have. So it is having some sort of a computer inside it, some sort of applications inside it. So they are all kind of a edge devices. The distributed cloud. So there is a concept of say cloud adoption. So initially, people or the companies, they used to stick to only one cloud service provider. For example, Amazon Cloud, the AWS, or the Microsoft Azure, or Oracle Cloud, or SAP Cloud. But there is a trend now that companies are adopting multiple cloud service providers services, and then integrating them, and then creating a distributed cloud for them, because their need are not probably not fulfilled by a single cloud service provider. There are hundreds of or thousands of startups coming up with the SaaS services, where they are providing certain very niche say applications on cloud that can fulfill a need of a business, right? Then autonomous things are also catching up, and then you can definitely look at in building your say career in them. However, I do not suggest you to just pick up something and then from the sake of knowing about it. You have to go deeper. So you should know the technology as deep as that 200 people around you should not be knowing it. When you are working with hundreds of people with on the same technology, then you should be expert into it. So go deeper into the technology. Don't just learn superficially, right? So that is my advice. Then again, practical blockchain technology is also something which is catching up. And now, when we are living in lockdowns, blockchain technology probably, that is my personal guess, may take the payments or the cryptocurrency industry by a storm in coming years. But we don't know. Again, the AI security is another area to look at. So I repeatedly say whether you should follow the technology or whether you should follow the trends. So, friends, my suggestion is follow the trend. You start your career with technology, but keep an eye on the trend. What is coming up? What is going to be a next big thing? So, if I look at my career in 25 years, um, uh, there was a time when even a personal computer was a big thing, right? And then lot of incremental things came up on top of say the personal computer and the internet, where people built their career. But if say they stuck to it, then they become irrelevant once smartphones came into picture, and hundreds of say new career lines or new say trends that set off by the smartphones. Then again, machine learning is something catching up, or probably something which is cooking up somewhere, and you never know, it becomes a trend, right? So if I just take forward this particular idea, you never know in today's world, like work from home or learn from home, will create probably hundreds of new service lines. So my suggestion is you start with technology, keep an eye on the trend, follow the trend, and if the trend demands, then learn the technology which support that particular trend. Then you will be able to build a good career. So yeah, I have taken this particular concept from somewhere and I have provided the credit over here. So this is not my idea. Okay, so what are the levers to success of ADM? So if you look at top here, the conventional ADM, application development and maintenance, though this is a little complex say topic for you, but some people who are already in the industry in application development and maintenance, who have spent probably 8 to 10 years in the industry, so this will make more sense to them because I have a very um, say audience today. So if some of you are having very good experience in application development and maintenance, so you will be able to identify what exactly I'm talking about here. So the conventional ADM usually relies upon the outdated and complex systems, the IT environment, where you have a traditional servers running in your data center with some outdated operating systems, outdated applications running in from 5 year, 10 year like that, and then you just keep updating it incrementally and then patching it up as soon as some security patch comes in, as soon as operating system patch comes in, you have to validate whether your application is supporting those patches or not. The traditional pricing model is also one of the aspect of ADM. So believe me, if you want to build a good career, then you have to learn how to price the application development, how to measure your efforts. So usually efforts are measured in terms of in the old days, effort used to be measured in number of line of code that you write, right? But nowadays effort is measured what exactly you are going to produce in one sprint cycle or in a agile way of model, right? So what exactly you are going to produce in one sprint cycle, what is the everyday effort that you are going to spend, so per day effort, per week effort, per month effort. So until unless you don't start creating ways to produce more, to write better code, good quality code, testing it very fast, adopting certain tools which can make things faster, then you are not going to succeed. So you have to also keep an eye on your productivity. Productivity is very important in ADM environment. Then technology focus is also one of the aspect that traditional ADM usually used to look at. Multi-vendor environment where application development team and maintenance team are coming in from different companies. You must be seeing for a customer HCL, Capgemini, Wipro, Infosys, though I do not supposed to take these names, but though we are living in a world where we know all the major SI companies, so they are working collaboratively in different in one single company, and then they keep pushing that wall of confusion I was talking about, right? So so that was a traditional way of ADM. So what is next gen ADM? Next gen ADM, for example, in my company, I'm responsible for a ADMnext offer where I have provided this link as well. You can go through this link and then know about what exactly ADMnext is. So traditional ADM days are over. Okay, so next gen ADM is where we have to identify ways of doing the changes very fast, adopting the changes very fast. If, for example, in today's world, the work from home, learn from home is on the very high, right? And if say enterprises are not able to adapt, they are not able to make changes into the system very fast, then they will be running behind the competition, right? So though I'm not saying that focus should be on the profitability in today's world, we have to first live safely and look at the safety of everyone. But still, you cannot just leave behind your businesses. So uh, how to create an ADM environment which can be adaptive to faster changes, which is business focused. It is not a technology focused. It is a business focus where the changing in the business need, and then you should be able to immediately or very fast say make changes to the technology environment to support your business so that your business keep running, right? If I take an example, for example, the startup companies, how exactly the businesses of, for example, the say online grocery companies, have they adapted, have they made changes to their system very quickly so that in today's world they can still become relevant? Probably few companies who have not built their system to adapt changes faster, they may run behind and they will become irrelevant, right? So another aspect, as I mentioned, commercial model is one of the important aspect in ADM, and flexible commercial model is something next gen ADM talks about. So next flexible commercial models, if I give an example, the outcome based model is one of the aspect, not the only aspect, but one of the aspect where you don't charge your customer based upon length of the application or the number of days you spend writing your application. You charge customer for that, no, but you charge customer how successful that application can become for them, how much revenue can it generate for them through their end customer or the end users, right? How exactly the application performance can become a key performance indicator, the KPI, on which this application development and maintenance can be measured upon. Then comes the adaptive ADM. Adaptive ADM is something, as I already talked about. So your ADM environment should be adaptive. The DevOps, the Agile, the Scrum that you are implementing, it it should support the faster adoption of the changes, right? The disruptive services, the coronavirus or the COVID-19 is a biggest disruptor of the century, right? So how exactly your ADM environment is supporting the disruption of the businesses? The embedded automation should not be implemented on top of applications. Automation should be embedded inside the ADM services, the application development, testing services, analysis, management, maintenance. So automation should be deeply integrated into the ADM environment. That is what my advice is. So yeah, I hope you have learned. You must have learned new things in today's session, and definitely it will help you in giving a bigger picture. My intention was not to teach you about one specific technology, but to give you a bigger perspective so that you know where to keep an eye while building your career. So with this, I'm ending the session, and I would like to now go through a few of the questions that some of you might have posted. Let me just go through it. Okay, let me refresh the questions that are posted so far in the document. Okay, so the first question, few of the questions I see, you are talking about which technology is mostly used in, say, for application development. As I mentioned, technology is a facilitator. So you can start from somewhere. You can start from SAP, you can start from Oracle, IBM, Microsoft. They have a different technology set, or Google, or probably Amazon. You can also look at the skills like say data science, or you can building a skill in AI, machine learning, automation. and then use the technology that supports that particular skill. For example, Python or say JavaScript or something like that, right? Another question, if I read out, um, I think this special lecture helps to acquire adequate knowledge about the various soft technologies during the modern period. Yeah, definitely. I hope that you must have learned something today. Okay, how the developer assure the safety and security of the application? Very good question. I say security should be first thing in your mind in today's world. Those days are over when application used to be written without keeping security in mind. So security should be there from a perspective of data. Security should be there from a perspective of accessibility. Security should be there from a perspective of traceability. Who is accessing your software at what time, from which location, which country, right? So if say you are building a banking application and it is supposed to be accessed by some bank employees sitting in a specific city, but whereas this is being accessed from a country which you don't want to be accessed from. So have you created a traceability in the application while feeding the data on the screen of the user, that user is accessing that particular application from which location? So security is not only about just user ID and password. Security has to be thought through at every aspect of application: accessibility, testing, implementation, integration, storage, where exactly your data is being stored. If you are deploying your application in cloud environment, for example, for example, Amazon cloud. So don't blindly just um, um, uh, just believe in one specific company. Always go deeper. Where exactly the data is being stored in, say, Amazon cloud or a Microsoft cloud, where their data center relies, right? So for example, Amazon cloud, they have a data center in Mumbai, in Singapore, in Hong Kong. So where your application is being stored, it is very important for you to know, right? So these are the things that are very basic to the data security aspect or the application security aspect. Again, let me take one more question. I have 10 more minutes. Okay, so I just completed my master's degree in automotive engineering, interested in connected cars technology. So how should be my approach towards the technology learning perspective? And please suggest any relevant tools from ADMnext perspective. See, one thing, automotive is an industry, right? So industries are pillars. So you think them as a towers. Retail is one tower, manufacturing is one tower, and financial industry is one tower, healthcare industry is one tower. Similarly, automotive is one tower. And then comes the cross technologies, which is cutting across different towers. That is called horizontal. So horizontal is nothing but a technology that is fulfilling the need of each tower, each of the industry, the retail, healthcare, manufacturing, and all. So what are those technologies? For example, Amazon Cloud. It is relevant for any of the industry. If I talk about, say, Python language, you can use Python to build any say automation things for any industry. So usually technologies cut across, they are horizontals. They can cut across any of the vertical, right? So you have to identify when your focus is on the smart cars, and that is an excellent probably choice. However, the target market for smart cars, whether in India, is it being in demand? The demand is probably confined to few companies, right? Or if say you are targeting a say company which is providing services to smart car companies across the globe, well and good. So you have to pick up within smart card whether you want to focus on the infotainment system in the smart card, whether you want to focus on the artificial intelligence part of it, whether you want to focus on the human interaction part of it. So again, go deeper. So car does have a hundreds of other different lines within the smart car technology. So you have to first know about those hundreds of different lines that are possible, then pick up one or two, then go deeper, and then you should be reaching at a stage where you will be called an expert, where you can answer any question asked by anyone, that whether you know how exactly you can probably read the say emotions of a person by face recognition, by various other say image analysis using artificial intelligence, for example. I'm just taking superficial, I'm not an expert in smart car, but again you have to go deeper, right, and then pick up the relevant technologies. All the technologies, most of the technologies are they are applicable there. You have to apply, for example, the statistical analysis say knowledge or the skill. You can use the big data. You can use even the integration technology or the audio video streaming knowledge into it, right? So how you apply the technical knowledge with a skill in the smart car say demand, right? Picking up another question. Okay, so where to refer the integrating different platforms? Is there any website which guides? Okay, very good question, because I built my career integrating different say technologies, right? So integration is also very key area where you don't have to develop a user interface or where you don't have to develop a database, but integration is but making two different systems talk to each other with help of APIs, web services, right? So these are the things that you need to learn. Uh, so if you just focus on the integration technologies, for example, the API adoption. So what is the how exactly the authentication system work in different two applications in the APIs. You can very well start with say Google APIs. Okay, you can start with Microsoft APIs. I still do the coding, and I have done some say API integration recently using the Twitter APIs. So Twitter provide APIs, LinkedIn provide APIs, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, everyone provide APIs. So focus on APIs, consume them, create user ID. You can use Python. It is very simple. You can start consuming. There are a lot of sample or example code that is available on internet. You can consume the APIs and then do some very interesting stuff. So can we go for Salesforce development as our career? Yeah, Salesforce is also a very good platform. Initially, their focus was only CRM system. They started very small as a SaaS provider. Now they are full blown, even full platform service provider. So they have a multiple things available beyond say CRM system, and a lot of customization is possible. Integration is possible. Integration with the a mailing system, SMS system, integration with the social media like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and Salesforce also can be integrated with the smart watches, with various other say IoT environment. So it is only about consuming the right data, reading the customer perspective, and then feeding back the data uh, uh, to the target devices or the edge devices, right? So another question, please provide the reading material today's live session lecture. So anyway, I have presented my whole presentation in the YouTube video, which will again be available anytime. You can go through anytime. I also provided a link into it where ADMnext, say offering that Capgemini is having. You can go through it. Okay, I'm seeing another question that is coming up. Say, sir, you said you don't stay on single technology. I do the same, but whenever a new technology comes, I quickly jump there. Okay, so I also said, so don't go exactly by one word what I said. I also said you focus on one, start with one technology, but go deeper. You become expert first. So don't jump into different technology again. So one technology can feed you or can help you in your career for 4 to 5 years. So that is a span after which your technology start become obsolete. So if you start your career with, for example, say Python and all, so while within your career, while using Python, learn new skills, keep an eye on the future trends, right? Keeping an eye on trend is also very important. And then don't try to jump for one technology to other in overnight. So the jump has to be on the span of 1 year or 2 year, so that you build your confidence level in a new technology or a trend before leaving the older one. Older one is also going to be helpful for very long period of time, for 7 years, 8 years, because that's an experience which is complementing the new technology that you are learning. Okay, I'm again picking up a new question. The simple lecture helps the acquire adequate knowledge about the various soft technology during the modern period. Okay, thank you. Okay, so um, where to refer integrating? Okay, I read that. We need more information about new technologies. Uh, Internet is full of information. You just search for it. The cloud service creation, which security aspect need to be considered, and SSL is enough to offer our application as a service. SSL security is not enough. Security is not only about creating a secure layer using SSL or firewall or just authentication system. Security has to be thought through uh, uh, from all the perspective, how to secure the data, how to secure the application, how to secure the access, not only today, but for many years. Even when you are archiving, taking backup, how to secure the backup. Security has to be in your mind at every step of software development life cycle or the maintenance life cycle. Keep it as if when you are living in your home, security is in your mind all the time. Whether your window is secure, whether your door is secure, whether your electricity supplies is secure, whether your water supply is secure, right? So it is not only about just putting a lock in your home. Security is looked at from all the aspects, right? So I need okay, which blockchain framework used by Indian IT service companies, since there are so many offering from IBM, Hyperledger World. Okay. So I don't want to probably pick up just one company who is providing the blockchain security platform. Platform can give you a start, but to become an expert, you have to go look at the fundamentals. So blockchain is very simple. So you first start looking at the encryption, decryption, methodology. So you are engineers. So you must have learned the encryption technologies. So that is the basis of the blockchain technology, right? So how the encryption work, how the blockchain actually works. So this is where you have to look at, and then look at the platforms. Platforms provided by IBM. You're doing the great marketing. That's why if you just search for blockchain platform, IBM comes on top, right? But you have to also look at other open source platforms as well, which can give you a better start in my view. Okay, one more minute. I think one more question coming in. I would like to know the impact of agile tool on disruptive technology adoption in ADM. Agile tools. So agile again is not a one single thing. So you have to look at the flavors of agile, whether it is Scrum, Kanban, or anything else, and then pick up the right tool that supports it. Right. So there are various tools that are available in the market, including open source. So you have to pick up some. How integrate security using machine learning? So machine learning ML, if I just correctly interpret, it is written ML, and if I interpret correctly, it is machine learning. Then machine learning is not a security. Machine learning is used for learning the history of the data, history of the application accessibility, and then taking the future action based upon the pattern of that particular historical data or the movement of the user, right? So you can predict based upon the past data or the pattern. Okay, so this is 8 p.m. and I hope you liked the like today's session. I would definitely look forward for you to provide the feedback, as well as you can follow me on the LinkedIn or on the Twitter account. You can reach out to me if you need any guidance. You can write a direct message to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm always open. I can definitely respond to you. Thank you, and stay safe, stay at home, and have a good career future in future for you. Thank you. Dhanyavad.